The medical bay of Zenith Station hummed with its usual efficiency, the soft glow of diagnostic panels casting blue light across sterile surfaces. Dr. Corveth adjusted his optical sensors as he reviewed the incoming patient file on his datapad. His 6 fingers moved quickly across the screen, scanning the information with practiced ease. A human. He had heard of them before. They were one of the newer species to join the galactic community. Barely 50 years since they had stumbled upon faster-than-light travel. Most reports classified them as primitive but harmless. They ran freight operations, did basic trade, kept to themselves mostly. Nothing remarkable. Vitals are stable but erratic, his assistant Church said, her mandibles clicking nervously as she hovered over the examination platform. The human female was found unconscious near docking port 7. Possible collision trauma during the docking sequence. Dr. Corveth approached the platform where the patient lay. She was small by galactic standards, maybe 1.6 meters tall. Her dark hair was matted with sweat and some kind of blue fluid from the docking bay. Her skin was a light brown color, smooth except for some small scars on her hands. She wore a standard freighter captain's uniform, torn at the shoulder. Her identification badge was still clipped to her chest. Captain Jywin Park, it read. Terran Freight Vessel Horizon. Earth Registry. She looks so fragile, Church observed, tilting her triangular head. Are all humans this small? Apparently they come in various sizes, Dr. Corveth replied, accessing the medical database. Let me pull up their biological specifications so we can treat her properly. He frowned at the screen. The human section was remarkably empty. Height ranges, yes. Weight ranges, yes. But detailed biological information, cellular structure, biochemistry, genetic mapping, nothing. All blank fields. That is odd, he muttered. We have detailed medical data on over 12,000 species. Even the Quantum Collective has submitted biological samples. But humans, nothing. Perhaps they are too primitive to understand the importance of medical records? Church suggested. Perhaps. Dr. Corveth did not sound convinced. Well, no matter. We'll do a standard bioscan and create a baseline ourselves. Activate the medical scanner. Church pressed a series of controls. Above the examination platform, a crystalline array descended from the ceiling, suspended by anti-gravity fields. The bioscanner was a marvel of technology, capable of analyzing any known form of life down to the quantum level. It could process silicon-based organisms, energy beings that existed in multiple dimensions, even creatures that lived as probability clouds. The scanner began to glow, emitting soft pulses of blue light that washed over Jywin's unconscious form. Holographic displays sprang to life around the room, ready to show cellular structures, DNA sequences, chemical compositions. Dr. Corveth watched the displays expectantly. Standard procedure. He had done this thousands of times. The scanner's hum changed pitch slightly, then a bit more. The blue light flickered, turning orange, then red. Doctor? Church's voice held a note of concern. The harmonics are wrong. Warning indicators began flashing on every console. The scanner shuddered, its crystalline structure vibrating at frequencies that made Dr. Corveth's teeth ache. Shut it down, he ordered. Church's fingers flew across the controls. It is not responding. The system is locked in analysis mode. The display showed cascading error messages, hundreds per second, scrolling too fast to read. But Dr. Corveth caught fragments. Unknown protein structures, unclassified cellular mechanisms, DNA sequences that violated standard genetic models, chemical processes that should not exist, and then in large red letters across the main display, species not in database, critical anomaly detected, analysis impossible. The scanner began to scream. The sound was terrible, a high-pitched wail that sent pain shooting through Dr. Corveth's auditory organs. The crystalline array glowed white-hot, cracks spreading across its surface like lightning. Emergency shutdown, Dr. Corveth shouted, but his voice was lost in the noise. The scanner exploded. The blast waved through Dr. Corveth across the medical bay. He crashed into a wall, felt something crack in his carapace. Shrapnel peppered the room, embedding in walls and equipment. Smoke filled the air, acrid and burning. Emergency alarms began their deafening wail. Automatic fire suppression systems activated, spraying foam across surfaces. Red emergency lighting bathed everything in blood-colored shadows. Force fields snapped into place, containing the damage to half the medical bay and preventing decompression. Dr. Corveth struggled to his feet, his body aching. His assistant Church was unconscious near the doorway, but he could see her breathing. Around him, equipment sparked and smoked. Diagnostic panels were shattered. Medical supplies were scattered everywhere. But on the examination platform, untouched and unharmed, Captain Jywin Park still lay unconscious. Not a scratch on her, not even disturbed by the explosion that had destroyed everything around her. Dr. Corveth stared at her, his 3 hearts pounding in asynchronous rhythm. In 40 years of medical practice, across a dozen different stations and hospital ships, he had never seen a bioscanner explode. They were designed with multiple fail-safes, built to handle the most exotic and dangerous forms of life. Yet this small, fragile-looking human had somehow caused a catastrophic overload just by existing. Station Commander Thexral's voice boomed through the emergency intercom. "Medical Bay, report immediately. What just happened? Are we under attack?" Dr. Corveth activated his communicator with shaking hand. His voice came out hoarse from the smoke. "Commander, this is Dr. Corveth. We have had an incident. The medical scanner, it exploded." "Exploded? Those scanners did not explode. Doctor, what happened?" Dr. Corveth looked at the human again. She was starting to move slightly, her eyes flickering beneath closed lids. "Commander," he said slowly, "we were attempting to scan the human patient. The system could not identify her species. Then it destroyed itself trying." There was a long pause on the other end of the communication line. "You are telling me," Commander Thexral said carefully, "that our medical scanner, which has successfully analyzed energy beings and quantum entities, could not scan a simple biological humanoid?" "Yes, Commander. That is exactly what I am telling you." Another pause. "Then, seal that section. No one enters or exits. Do not attempt any further scans. Do not touch the human. And someone get me every file we have on this species called humanity. I want to know what we are dealing with." The communication cut off. Dr. Corveth approached the examination platform cautiously, as if Jywin might explode just like the scanner had. She looked so ordinary. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. A standard carbon-based biped from what the records called a Class M planet. Nothing that should cause this kind of reaction. Her eyes opened. They were brown, warm, and completely confused. She blinked several times, then turned her head slowly, taking the destroyed medical bay, the smoke, the sparking equipment, the staring aliens. Dr. Corveth stood in the observation room, looking through the reinforced glass at the human woman who sat on the medical platform. Jywin had been awake for 3 hours now, calm and cooperative, seemingly unaware of the chaos her mere presence had caused. Around him, the station's best xenobiologists gathered, their various forms creating a strange assembly of scales, feathers, carapaces, and stranger things. "We need to understand what happened," Dr. Corveth said to the assembled scientists. "But we must be extremely careful. Manual analysis only. No advanced scanners. No energy-based diagnostics. Nothing that might trigger another explosion." Dr. Venn, an Altherian biochemist with 4 delicate arms and crystalline skin, stepped forward. She held a small vial of Jywin's blood, obtained with the human's permission using a simple needle. The old-fashioned way. "I will start with basic optical analysis," Dr. Venn said, placing a single drop on a glass slide and positioning it under a simple light microscope, the kind of equipment that had not been commonly used in centuries, replaced long ago by molecular scanners and quantum imagers. She peered through the eyepiece, adjusting the focus. Then she went very still. "Dr. Corveth, you need to see this." He looked through the microscope. The blood cells were visible, swimming in the plasma. They looked normal enough at first glance, disc-shaped and numerous. But as he watched, he began to notice things that made no sense. The oxygen-carrying capacity, Dr. Venn whispered, it exceeds theoretical maximums for iron-based hemoglobin. by a significant margin. These cells should not be able to hold this much oxygen. The molecular structure would collapse. But they are not collapsing, Dr. Corveth observed. No, they are thriving. And look closer at the cellular walls. There are redundant structures, backup systems within backup systems. If one mechanism fails, 3 others can take over the same function. A researcher from the Hive Collective, a being named Zith who existed as a colony organism, leaned in to examine the sample. This level of biological redundancy is unnecessary for any normal environment. This suggests evolution under extreme selective pressure, constant threats, constant adaptation. Dr. Corveth straightened up, his mind racing. What kind of world creates this kind of biology? A hostile one, Zith replied. Very hostile. They decided to try a cellular analysis next. Dr. Venn prepared a more sophisticated but still relatively simple device, a low-level molecular imager that used basic electromagnetic resonance to map cellular structures. It was primitive by modern standards, barely more advanced than the optical microscope. This should be safe, she said, activating the device over a fresh blood sample. It uses minimal energy, nothing that should trigger defensive responses. The imager hummed softly. Holographic representations of cells began to form in the air above the device. Dr. Corveth watched as the 3-dimensional structures took shape, showing the intricate architecture of human cells. Then the imager sparked. Smoke began curling from its base. Turn it off, Dr. Corveth shouted. Dr. Venn hit the emergency shutdown, but it was too late. The device exploded in a shower of sparks and melted components. The blast was much smaller than the bioscanner incident, but the message was clear. Even minimal scanning triggers a defensive response, Dr. Venn said, staring at the destroyed equipment. Her cells are actively resisting analysis. They treat any form of external examination as an attack. A medical technician named PRYLL, who specialized in nanomedicine, had been attempting a different approach. She had introduced medical nanites into a sample of Jaiwin's blood, tiny machines designed to repair cellular damage and fight disease. They were standard treatment for almost every known species. PRYLL had been watching through a display screen, and now her face had gone pale, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with distress. Doctor, you need to see this, she said quietly. On the screen, they watched as the medical nanites entered the blood sample. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with terrifying speed, Jaiwin's white blood cells swarmed the nanites. The immune response was overwhelming, brutal, and efficient. Within seconds, every single nanite had been destroyed, broken down into component atoms by the human's immune system. They attacked our medical technology, PRYLL whispered. They treated advanced healing nanites, designed to help as hostile invaders. And they won. Completely. Ze spoke up, their collective voice carrying an edge of concern. I have been reviewing her genetic structure through purely observational means. No active scanning, just watching how her cells behave. The DNA contains sequences that appear to be dormant, instruction sets waiting for activation, and there are defense mechanisms built into the genetic code itself, as if her very blueprint expects to be invaded and has prepared countermeasures. Countermeasures against what? Dr. Corveth asked. What kind of threats exist on our homeworld that would require this level of biological warfare capability? Before anyone could answer, Station Commander Thexrau entered the observation room. His large frame filled the doorway, his scaled face set in grim lines. I have been in contact with the Galactic Council, he said without preamble. They are very interested in this situation. I have also reviewed every file we have on humanity. It makes for disturbing reading. He activated a holographic display. Information scrolled past, sparse and incomplete. Humans come from a planet called Earth in the Sol System. They achieved faster-than-light travel approximately 50 standard years ago. They have been members of the galactic community ever since, operating mostly as freight haulers and merchants. They are classified as a primitive, non-threatening species. But, Dr. Corveth prompted, sensing there was more. But Commander Thexrau continued. In 50 years of contact, not a single human has ever submitted to a medical scan. Not one. Every time is requested, they cite cultural or religious reasons. Some stations have tried to make it mandatory, but human diplomats always find ways around it. Trade negotiations suddenly stall. Important cargo shipments get delayed. Nothing aggressive, nothing that could be called hostile, but the message is clear. They will not allow themselves to be scanned. They have been hiding their biology from us. Dr. Venn said slowly, deliberately, "It appears so. The question is why?" Through the glass, they could see Jaiwin still sitting on the medical platform. She had been given water and some basic food that she had assured them was safe for humans to eat. She looked tired, a bit confused, but not threatening. Just a small woman who wanted to understand what was happening. Dr. Korveth made a decision. He walked into the medical bay. Jaiwin looked up as he approached. "Doctor, what is going on? Why did your scanner explode? Am I sick? Is something wrong with me?" "Captain Park," Dr. Korveth said carefully, "I need to ask you some questions about your species. About humans. About Earth." Something flickered in Jaiwin's eyes. A moment of caution, of calculation. It passed quickly, but Dr. Korveth had seen it. "What do you want to know?" she asked. The conference room was filled with scientists from a dozen different species. Commander Thexral stood at the head of the table, his massive form casting shadows across the gathered xenobiologists. On the main display screen, the Galactic database showed its pitifully small file on humanity. Species origin, Sol system, third planet. Recently achieved faster-than-light travel approximately 50 years ago. Classification, non-threatening primitive species. Primary activities, freight transport, basic trade, mineral extraction. Biological data, none available. Medical records, none submitted. Dr. Korveth looked through the glass partition to where Jaiwin sat in the medical bay, still calm, still patient. He turned back to the assembled group. "She has agreed to tell us about her homeworld," he said. "About what kind of planet creates this kind of biology. I think we need to hear this." Commander Thexral activated the communication system. "Captain Park, we are ready. Please proceed." Jaiwin's voice came through clearly. She had been moved to a more comfortable chair, given proper clothing to replace her torn uniform. She looked small and harmless, sitting there with her hands folded in her lap. "Where should I start?" she asked. "The basics," Dr. Korveth replied. "Your planet's environmental conditions." "All right. Earth's gravity is approximately 9.8 meters per second squared." Dr. Venn quickly ran the calculation on her datapad. Her crystalline face went rigid. "That is 1.3 times galactic standard. That level of gravity would crush most species' skeletal structures over time. It would cause organ failure, circulatory collapse. We evolved in it," Jaiwin said simply. "Our bones are dense. Our muscles are strong. It is normal for us." A flutter of concerned whispers ran through the room. Commander Thexral raised a hand for silence. "Continue, Captain." "Our atmosphere is about 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. This time it was PRYLL who reacted, her bioluminescent patterns flashing alarm colors. 21% oxygen? That is toxic. Oxygen is highly reactive, corrosive at those concentrations. It would damage cells, cause rapid aging, increase cancer rates." "It does all of those things," Jaiwin confirmed. "That is why our cells have so many redundant repair mechanisms. That is why we age. Our own atmosphere is slowly poisoning us, and we have adapted to survive it anyway." Zith, the Hive Collective researcher, leaned forward. "What is your planet's temperature range?" "At the surface, we have recorded temperatures from about minus 89 degrees Celsius to plus 57 degrees Celsius. In some locations. Those are lethal extremes." Dr. Venn gasped. "The low temperature would freeze cellular fluids. The high temperature would denature proteins. No biological organism could survive that range. We do not live in those extremes," Jaiwin explained patiently. "But humans exist on every continent of our world, in deserts and Arctic regions, in jungles and mountains. We adapt. We build shelters, make clothing, create tools. But yes, Our biology can handle significant temperature variation. Dr. Corveth was making notes on his datapad, but his hands were shaking slightly. What about other life on your planet? Predators? Diseases? Jaiwan's expression became difficult to read. Earth is crowded with life. Everything is competing to survive. We have large predators that hunt in packs. We have small parasites that live inside bodies. We have bacteria and viruses that evolve constantly, finding new ways to infect hosts. We have plants that are poisonous to eat. We have insects that inject venom. We have fungi that can take over nervous systems. And you evolved alongside all of this, Commander Thexral said slowly. We did not just evolve alongside it. We competed with it. We are persistence hunters. Commander, do you know what that means? I do not. It means when we choose prey, we follow it. For hours. For days if necessary. We do not have to be faster. We just have to keep moving. We walk until the prey collapses from exhaustion. Then we take it. Very few species on Earth can match human endurance. A long silence fell over the conference room. Dr. Venn spoke up, her voice barely a whisper. Captain Park, what you are describing is not a life-bearing planet. It is a death world. A place where only the most aggressive, most adaptable, most resilient life could possibly survive. We call it home, Jaiwan said quietly. Dr. Corveth pulled up comparison data on his screen. Most spacefaring species in the galaxy evolved on what we call garden worlds. Stable climates, moderate gravity, balanced atmospheres, few natural predators. Earth scores in the highest danger category on every single environmental metric. It should not have produced intelligent life. It should produce nothing but extinction. But it produced us instead, Jaiwan said. Commander Thexral's scales were rippling, a sign of deep agitation. Captain, your people have been in our space for 50 years, trading with us, living on our stations, working alongside us. And in all that time, you never mentioned that you come from a world that would kill most of us within hours. Would you have treated us the same if you knew? Jaiwan asked. Or would you have feared us, restricted us, quarantined us as a dangerous species? No one had an answer to that. As they spoke up, their collective voice thoughtful. The biological defenses we observed make sense now. Her immune system attacks our medical technology because it has evolved to fight threats constantly. Her cells resist scanning because they have defenses against radiation and chemical analysis built into their structure. Everything about human biology is designed for survival in the most hostile environment imaginable. Dr. Venn was scrolling through data on her pad. I am checking records of other Death World species. There are very few. Most never achieve space travel because the constant environmental pressure keeps them focused on survival. Those that do make it off-world are usually classified as dangerous and heavily restricted. Are you going to restrict us? Jaiwan asked. Before anyone could answer, Drix, the station's xenoarchaeologist, burst into the conference room. She was out of breath, her tentacles waving in agitation. She carried an old datapad, its screen flickering with ancient text. Commander, I apologize for the interruption, but I found something in the old archives. Something about humanity that changes everything. What is it? Commander Thexral demanded. Drix activated her datapad, projecting a hologram into the center of the room. It showed text in a language none of them could read, accompanied by translation algorithms working to decode it. 50,000 years ago, there was a precursor species. We call them the Cedars. They had technology far beyond ours. According to these records, they created what they call guardian species, organisms engineered to survive extinction-level events, designed to be protectors. What does this have to do with humans? Dr. Corveth asked, though a cold suspicion was already forming in his mind. Drix pulled up a comparison chart. On one side, the characteristics of theoretical guardian species, as described in the ancient texts. On the other side, human biological data they had managed to gather. They matched perfectly. Dr. Corveth stood before the quantum imaging device, his hands hovering over the controls. This technology was different from the scanners that had exploded. It did not send energy into the subject. It did not probe or analyze. It simply observed, watching quantum states without disturbing them, like looking at something without touching it. "This should work," he said to the assembled team. "Pure observation. No interference. Her biological defenses should not recognize it as a threat." Jaiwan had agreed to one more attempt. She sat in the imaging chamber, calm and still. Through the transparent walls, they could see her clearly, her expression patient but tired. "Activate the system," Commander Thexral ordered. The quantum imager hummed to life, but it was a gentle sound, nothing like the aggressive scanning of the previous devices. Holographic displays filled the air around them, showing layer upon layer of biological information. Cell structures, protein chains, neural pathways. And then the DNA, the double helix spiraled in the air before them, massive and complex. Dr. Korveth directed the imaging to focus on the genetic code, zooming deeper into the molecular structure. "There," Dr. Venn said, pointing at sections of the DNA that glowed differently. "Those are the non-coding regions, what humans call junk DNA. Sequences that do not appear to code for any proteins or perform any obvious function. Except they are not junk," Sid observed. "Look at the pattern. It is too regular, too organized. This is not random genetic drift." Dr. Korveth enhanced the image further. The so-called junk sequences revealed themselves in greater detail. And there, buried within the genetic code, were patterns that made his 3 hearts skip beats. "That is not natural," he whispered. "That is encrypted data. Information deliberately hidden in the genetic code." Drix rushed forward, her tentacles trembling with excitement. "Can you extract it? Can you read what it says?" "I can copy the pattern, but decoding it will take time. This encryption is beyond anything I have seen. It is ancient and sophisticated." "Then we get started immediately," Commander Thexral said. "This may tell us what humanity truly is." The next 6 hours passed in tense silence. Drix worked at her station, running the encrypted genetic data through every decryption algorithm in the station's database. Ancient languages, mathematical codes, quantum ciphers. Nothing worked. The data remained locked, stubbornly refusing to reveal its secrets. Jaiwan had been allowed to rest in a private room, under guard but treated well. The scientists worked through the station's night cycle, fueled by stimulants and growing desperation. Finally, as the station's artificial dawn began to brighten the corridor lights, Drix made a sound of triumph. "I have it." The key was in the encryption itself. It uses a mathematical constant based on the golden ratio, combined with Earth's orbital period and rotational speed. The encryption was designed to only be decoded by someone who knew Earth's specific astronomical data. "Show us," Commander Thexral commanded. The text appeared on the main display, translated into standard galactic language. The room fell absolutely silent as they read. "To those who find this message, you stand before a guardian. We are the Seeders, architects of life, shepherds of worlds. In our time, we have seen the cycles of creation and destruction. We have witnessed the rise of civilizations and their fall to the darkness between stars. This species, humanity, is our final creation, our greatest work. We have engineered them to survive what others cannot. We have placed them on a forged world, a planet of constant challenge, where only the strongest traits persist. For 50,000 years they have evolved, adapted, grown harder and more resilient with each generation. They are the shield against the harvest. They are the sword against the devourers. They are guardians, created to stand when all others fall. When the darkness returns, and it will return, humanity will awaken to their true purpose. They will protect. They will endure. They will fight. To the humans who read this, you are more than you know. Your strength is not accident. Your resilience is not chance. You were made for this. When the time comes, you will understand. Your biology will respond. Your instincts will guide you. Trust what you are. To others who read this, do not fear the guardians. They are not your enemies. They exist to preserve life, not destroy it. But respect what they are. Respect what they can become. The harvest comes. The devourers wake. The guardians stand. This is our legacy. This is our gift. This is our warning. The message ended. No one spoke. Dr. Corveth read it again, then a third time, as if repetition might make it less terrifying. The Devourers, Dr. Venn finally said. What are the Devourers? Drix was already searching the ancient archives. Her tentacles moved frantically across multiple screens at once. Here, references in cedar text. The Devourers are an ancient enemy. Machines, apparently. Vast fleets of automated ships designed to harvest biological matter, to consume entire worlds. The Cedars fought them for millennia, and they created humanity as a weapon against these Devourers. Commander Thexral asked. Not a weapon, a guardian. There is a difference. Is there? When the purpose is still to fight. Dr. Corveth thought about Jywin, about her calm demeanor, her patience, her willingness to help despite everything. She does not seem like a weapon. None of the humans we have met seem aggressive or violent, because they have not been activated yet, it said quietly. The message says their biology will respond when the time comes. They are dormant, waiting. Waiting for what? Dr. Venn asked, though the answer was obvious, for the Devourers to return. Commander Thexral stood, his large frame moving to the window. Outside, space stretched endlessly, filled with stars and the running lights of ships. Peaceful, safe, but for how long? We need to tell the Galactic Council, he said. They need to know what humanity is, what they were made for. And we need to tell the humans, Dr. Corveth added. They deserve to know the full truth about themselves. Captain Park said they found ruins on Mars 20 years ago. They already know some of this. But do they know all of it? Do they understand that they are designed to activate? That their biology will change when threatened? No one had an answer. Drix brought up another screen, this one showing Earth's history as humans have recorded it. Ice ages survived. Plagues endured. Near extinction events overcome. Wars fought and ended. Technology advancing at an incredible pace once they reached a certain threshold. Look at their development curve, she said. They went from first power flight to landing on their moon in 66 years. From first computers to artificial intelligence in less than a century. Their advancement is not gradual like most species. It is explosive, as if something in their genetics is pushing them forward, preparing them. For war, Dr. Venn said softly. For guardianship, Dr. Corveth corrected. There is still a difference. The Galactic Council chamber was filled with representatives from every major species in the Union. The massive circular room, normally a place of calm debate and diplomatic discussion, now vibrated with panic. Holographic displays showed the same terrifying image from every angle. The Devourer fleet, massive and dark, moving steadily toward inhabited space. 3 days. That was all they had. Council Leader Tharn, an elderly Valerian with silver scales and eyes that had witnessed centuries of peace, called the session to order. Her voice, usually gentle, now carried an edge of steel. We face an enemy from ancient history, she said. An enemy we thought was myth. The Devourers have returned. Our military analysts estimate they will reach the Kepler colony in 72 hours. That colony holds 4 million souls across 12 different species. What are our defensive capabilities? Asked the Draxian military representative, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline matrix. The military coordinator, General Vex, displayed tactical projections. We are mobilizing everything we have. 300 warships will be in position within 40 hours. But preliminary analysis suggests this will not be enough. The Devourer vessels are larger and more heavily armed than anything in our fleet. Their technology is thousands of years more advanced than ours. Then what can we do? Someone shouted from the gallery. We evacuate what we can and hope for a miracle, General Vex said quietly. There may be another option, Commander Thexral said, standing from his seat. We need to contact Earth. Immediately. The humans? Council Leader Tharn looked surprised. They are barely spacefaring. What can they possibly do? More than you know, Leader. Much more. We have recently learned that humanity is not what we believe them to be. They are ancient guardians, created by the Cedars specifically to combat the Devourers. It is encoded in their genetics. A wave of shocked murmurs ran through the council chamber. "This is insanity," the Draxian representative said. "You are suggesting we trust the survival of the galaxy to a primitive species that has been hiding their true nature from us?" "I am suggesting we ask them for help," Commander Thexra replied, "because they may be our only hope." Council Leader Tharn considered for a long moment, then nodded. "Open a channel to Earth. Priority Alpha encryption." The holographic display shifted, and after a moment, a human face appeared. The man was perhaps 50 years old, with dark hair graying at the temples and sharp, intelligent eyes. He wore a formal uniform of some kind, crisp and professional. "I am Ambassador Miho Choi, representing Earth's government," he said without preamble. "I assume you are calling about the Devourers." The council chamber went silent. "You know about them?" Council Leader Tharn asked. "Our sensors detected them approximately 1 hour before yours did. We have been tracking them since emergence. We know what they are. We know what they want." Miho's expression was grim but calm. "And we know what must be done." "The Council formally requests Earth's assistance in this crisis," Tharn said. "We have learned that your species may have been created to face this exact threat." Miho confirmed. "We discovered this truth 20 years ago in ancient ruins on Mars. The Cedars left detailed records, instructions, training protocols, weapon specifications, ship designs, everything we would need when the Devourers returned." "You knew they were coming?" General Vex asked, his voice sharp. "We knew something was coming. The Cedars were clear about that. They said the Devourers would return, and when they did, humanity would need to be ready. And are you ready?" Commander Thexral asked. Miho's expression shifted, and something cold entered his eyes. Something predatory. "We have been preparing for this moment since we discovered our purpose. For 20 years, we have been building in secret, hidden shipyards in dark space, weapons based on Cedar technology, training protocols for our military forces. We knew this day would come. We just did not know when." "How many ships can you provide?" General Vex asked. "Check your sensors," Miho said simply. Across Zenith Station and every military outpost in the sector, alarms began to sound. Not warning alarms this time. Detection alarms. New contact appearing on sensors. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Human warships decloaking across the entire sector. They emerged from dark space like ghosts becoming solid. Massive vessels, sleek and aggressive in their design, bristling with weapons that did not appear in any galactic database. They moved with precision and purpose, taking up positions along the predicted Devourer approach vector. Dr. Corvette stood in the observation deck of Zenith Station, staring in disbelief at the fleet appearing before him. The ships were enormous, some larger than anything the Union had ever constructed. "How many?" he whispered. "Initial count suggests over 2,000 capital ships," a tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. "With support vessels and fighters, the total fleet size is approximately 15,000 craft." 15,000, Dr. Corvette repeated. "They built 15,000 warships in 20 years? In secret?" On the holographic display in the council chamber, Ambassador Miho continued speaking. "These vessels use technology given to us by the Cedars. They are designed specifically to fight the Devourers. Our weapons can pierce their hulls. Our shields can withstand their energy weapons. We know their tactics because the Cedars studied them for millennia. This changes everything," Council Leader Tharn said quietly. "We thought humanity was a primitive species barely capable of space travel." "That was intentional," Miho admitted. "We did not want to alarm the galactic community. We needed time to prepare, time to build, time to train. If we had revealed our true capabilities immediately, it would have caused panic, fear, perhaps even preemptive conflict. So we hid. We played the role of simple traders and freight haulers. And we built our defenses where no one would look." "You have been deceiving us," the Draxian representative said angrily. "We have been protecting you," Miho corrected firmly. "This is what we were made for. This is our purpose. Not conquest, not domination, protection. The Cedars created us to be guardians, and that is what we are." On Xena Station, Jaiwin walked onto the observation deck. She had changed from her casual clothing into a military uniform, dark blue with silver insignia. Dr. Korveth barely recognized her. She moved differently now, with confidence and purpose that had not been there before. "Captain Park," he said uncertainly. "Commander Park, actually," she replied. "Special Operations, Earth Defense Fleet. I apologize for deception. Doctor, I was sent to observe Union defensive capabilities and make contact if necessary. We needed to know if you could defend yourselves before we revealed what we were. And your conclusion? You are good people," Jaiwin said simply. "Scientists, diplomats, traders. You have built a peaceful civilization, but you are not warriors. You cannot fight what is coming, so we will fight for you." "Why?" Dr. Korveth asked. "Why protect us? You could use this crisis to demand anything. Power, territory, resources, but you are simply offering to help.